You guys are okay. I'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to make sure we had time for everyone to get here. If you've not had a chance, we have the QR code. It's at the end of most of the rows, also up on the walls here. All that is just a web page dedicated to Shark University. Has a lot of the information of what we're going to talk about today. Has just kind of electronic copies of things that will go a little bit more in depth. So again, if we're talking about say sport or becoming an official or volunteer, those sorts of things, rather than hearing me drone on and on about it for the next half hour, 45 minutes, you can just kind of look at it and read it if you're interested. So there is a lot of information there, particular to joining. Coach Jeremy put a lot of time in. There's also videos there on how to sign up for meets and how to do different things on the website as well. So there's some links there that can help you out. Also, anybody who's not here, we will point them in that direction of this site. It should have a little bit of everything there. I want to start out. I want to introduce our coaches and make sure that you guys can put names with faces. We do have a couple coaches that are finishing up some of our older kids' practices and a couple coaches that are not here. But for the most part, just so you guys can put names with faces. First we have Coach Rob and Coach James, Coach Nate, Lindsay, and Coach Jeremy. So, and I'm Coach Chris, just I probably left that out. I sometimes assume that everyone has gotten enough emails and newsletters from me that they probably can put the two together. But we have a lot of things here. Sorry, my computer went down here. So basically what I want to talk about New Trier in general. For those who are new to the team or maybe have not been part of a lot of what we've been doing, we are a swim team and a water polo club. Okay, so we have both sides of it. There's a lot of areas that we cross over. Okay, and then there's a lot of areas that it is completely separate. Okay, but it is important that we have people kind of recognize that we have both sides of our club going on at the same time. And I think that me being a swimming person, a lot of times you get a lot of the swimming side of things, but I want to make sure that we're right now trying to make sure that both sides of our club, that we're promoting both sides, that our water polo has done a great job over the last couple years, being top 3 at junior nationals this summer on the girls. Was it the girls? Top 3 at junior nationals, they are the top water polo team in the state, as we are working to be the top swim team in the state. So there's some great synergies there when it comes to pool usage. Comes to obviously our water polo players need to be able to swim and swim well. So all of those things kind of come into play as we go through. One of the things that I want to talk about for us as a club. Is I think that it's important that we are a competitive team that has a place for everyone. And everyone has it, and that's one of the things I love about swimming, is that there is a competitive side for everyone. That's why we're in heats. If you go 35 in the 50 free, you're in a heat with other people that are roughly 35 in the 50 free. If you go 135 in the 50 free, you're in a heat with other people that can kind of go 135 in the 50 free, and you're able to compete at that level. So there's competition for everyone. And I think a lot of other sports, not that I want to bash any other sport, but I think a lot of other sports, you have an opportunity for 5 people. You have an opportunity for 12 people. We offer an opportunity for everyone. So I think that that's an important part of our club. That's an important part of our sport in general, is that we have that opportunity for everyone. That being said, one of the things that is very important to us is that we are competitive and that we're working towards being better. So wherever we start, we're working on trying to get a little bit better at every level. So, and that goes from our person who just started swimming, they're getting a little bit better by maybe learning to do a legal breaststroke or learning to do a full 25 of butterfly, okay? And at our top levels, our swimmers that are swimming at a national level trying to become All-Americans or trying to compete at an international level. And so, you know, that's the part of our club that we do have opportunities for everyone, but our goal is every practice, every week, every meet, every season is to become a little bit better. And so in that vein, you know, a lot of times we're going to challenge the kids. We're going to kind of push them to get out of their comfort zone. You know, it's a saying in sports, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. And so we're always asking the kids to do a little bit more and push them a little bit more. And that's what I think separates us from other clubs. I think it's what separates what we're doing right now, maybe from what we've done in the past. And I think it's important with that. You know, I talk a lot about, in my previous position, I worked as a consultant for all the teams in South Carolina. And one of the things that I really tried to make sure everyone understood is swimming has a lot of different aspects to it, okay? And swimming has a lot of different aspects to it in that it can be a competitive sport or it can be an activity. And so a lot of times we have room for everybody, but I think a lot of times when it comes to parents and swimmers and their expectations, I always like them to define what is swimming to you. And it can change over time, depending on even the time of year. But is it a sport or is it an activity? Because again, those have different expectations. If I'm doing something as an activity, you know what, if I don't come every day, it's not a big deal. You know, if I don't really feel like doing it, you know, this day or that day, that's okay. You know, I use, not to pick on, if I was taking a pottery class, that's an activity. And if I don't do very well, that's fine. You know, if it doesn't look very good, that's fine also. However, if I'm in a sport, okay, I have expectations of myself. As a coach, if you tell me it's a sport, I'm going to have expectations from you as an athlete. And that's okay. And that's a good thing. But a lot of times I always try to make sure that it's clear in your minds and it's communicated to us as coaches so that we know, you know, how to best serve you. And again, if I have someone who comes to me and says, hey, I have all these goals as an athlete, I want to do all these things, if they don't show up for 2 or 3 days, then they're going to hear about it from me because they've told me that they have goals and they have expectations from themselves and frankly expectations from me. And so again, as we look at the season, as we go through, I want to make sure that a lot of times you guys can define that and think about what it is that you're trying to get out of the sport, because there's a ton that you can get out of the sport, from a fitness, from mental challenge to high level athletics, to opportunities in college and internationally and things like that. That runs the gamut. Swimming is a lifetime sport. We're swimming out at Centennial today every day, and it makes me feel young when I'm there, because there are people out there swimming that are way older than I am and have been swimming for the last 50 to 60 years and come out every day. Okay, so it is a great sport in that you can do it forever. But at the same time, you know, we want to make sure that so that we know what we're doing and we know how to best serve you, that it's clear in your mind what the sport is to you. So that's just an important part of what we're doing. So I talk a lot about swimming, okay, but I want to make sure we also are talking about water polo a little bit. And Jeff Woodman is a board member. He represents water polo to our board, does a little bit of coaching, and has kids that are involved in the program as well. So I'm gonna have him speak a little bit about water polo and some of the great things they've been doing as well.
Hi everybody. So as Chris said, our family has been part of the club, I think for 10 or 11 years. My kids started off as swimmers, And then once water polo became available, I think 6-7 years ago, my oldest son, who's now a freshman in college, joined. Then my other son joined. And now my daughter also joined. So I have 2 sophomores and 1 in college. And the club, I'm not so much as a coach, I'm just kind of like the liaison between the water polo side and everybody else throughout this. But our coaches are, the head coach is Laz, he's in Michigan with the team, and then AK is with another game up now, so they kind of installed me here. Our coaches, including those 2, we have Matt Wendt and Keith Yabbitt. I've been to numerous tournaments with these gentlemen in Florida, California, Texas. They are very well known and very, very well respected. The wealth of knowledge that this club has on the water polo side is incredible, and we are lucky to have them. It is a blessing for us. So if your kids are interested in even trying it out, coming to a practice, there's no age too young. Let me know or let Chris know, and we will direct them to the correct practice. And we've had kids come out and dabble in it and love it. And we've had kids come out and dabble in it and play a season or 2 and then decide, like, I want to focus more on swimming. And then my kids dabbled in it and decided they enjoyed water polo more than swimming and kind of, pivoted more towards that, but were able to still stay within the neutral aquatics community, which was important to us and our family. It's a phenomenal sport. I mean, I never played it. I never swam. My wife was the swimmer in the family. And I have become dangerous enough with my knowledge that Laz wants me to get my coaching credentials, but it is truly a phenomenal sport, and I'm lucky that my kids kind of shoved me in that direction. So if you have questions on it, get in touch with the club, and then they can forward you to me.
All right.
Anything else, Chris?
That's perfect.
Okay. There you go. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Okay. Also, like I said, we're trying to hit a lot of different areas to make sure that everybody has kind of a broad base. We're going to talk a little bit about safe sport, and a lot of people. There's a link on our website to Safe Sport. What Safe Sport is, it's something that was set up by basically our governing body and the governing body of all Olympic sports. So again, rowing, hockey, all the Olympic sports. They set up the Center for Safe Sport. And what that is an area for athletes and parents and even coaches to go to make sure our athletes are protected. And so in youth sports, over the last 20 years, it's come to light that there are instances of abuse from coaches, from other athletes, even from officials and parents and things like that. And what they wanted to do was set up a lot of an area where you can report outside of the current, your current chain of command, I guess, for lack of a better term. And so, because unfortunately, over the years, a lot of these issues were swept under the rug, or they were presented to either parent boards or coaches who had no experience in how to handle certain things. Not all of us are trained in HR issues and things like that. So it really allowed a third party to come in and create a little extra layer of safety. And so with that, all of us have, all of the coaches receive training in safe sport. All of our board has to go through safe sport training as well, so that we know what to look for, how to recognize it, and how to then report it and deal with those situations. And so if you do the QR code, there's a link in there to Safe Sport that has all of our policies, has contact information to go directly to Safe Sport. But I was going to ask Jeff and Julie if they would be willing to just talk a little bit. These are our Safe Sport representatives on the team. And so Julie does a lot of our stuff for the swimming side. Jeff does it for the water polo side. And so they would be resources as well if you feel there's something you're uncomfortable with. These would be the first people that you would reach out to.
Yeah, hi everybody. So we'll just say a couple of words. First, to introduce myself, I'm Julie Cho. We have one swimmer in the club, Kate. She's in 8th grade and she swims in Coach James's Gold 3 practice group. And I've been part of the club for 4 years when we moved here to Illinois, 4 years ago. And I volunteer for the club because it's just been a great community welcoming us to the new city, and so we're glad to see all of you here. Just on the swimming safe sport side, Chris told you a little bit about the program. We are proudly a USA Swimming Safe Sport recognized club, and so what that means is, as Chris mentioned, you'll see our policies and procedures on our website, so go visit it. Hopefully, there will not be a need for grievances or complaints, but probably the most important thing you want to know about our program is that we do have a grievance procedure. And so if you have any concerns or your athlete has any concerns, you go on our website and they'll tell you like who you can contact, the head coach or the section group coach or Jeff or me. And we'll take it super seriously and make sure that the matter's addressed properly and looked into. And then the other thing I just wanted to give you a heads up on, because we are a safe sport club, in addition to having policies and procedures, we also do have training for our coaches and our families and for our older athletes. And so you may be hearing from Jeff or me later in the year for training opportunities so that we can sustain our club recognition.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just echo what Julia would say, just on the water polo side, if you wind up trying that sport out, I'm your conduit into if you have a grievance or you can go through the club. We do take it seriously, we do get involved, and if something comes to our attention, it is immediately brought to Chris and the board's attention, and it's important, taking care of the kids and whatnot.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, what I have now is I set aside some time for just some general questions. We are going to meet as groups, and we're going to just take different sections of the bleachers where you can talk to your group coach and maybe ask specific questions about training or about what goes on in a practice, those sorts of things, maybe goals and meets and stuff like that. But before we do that, I'm just going to open up the floor to just general questions about the club or general questions from me. It can be about swimming, anything swimming related or anything like that. Does anybody have any questions? I set aside like 20 minutes so I can fill a lot of it. Okay, but I need a question to go off of. Yeah.
Do we have tech support for the USA Swimming subscription or registration?
Yes.
Because we have two swimmers, we don't know how to link accounts, and so we need each slot to help.
Yes. Let me. I will. Actually, I will turn that over to Jeremy. Is probably a little bit more well versed. I have the same complaint you do, so I can't really.
The question was about linking your USA Swimming registration now that USA Swimming has taken over registration. If you are having any issues about that, we can talk about it today individually. Just download the USA Swimming app if you haven't already, and we'll try and work it out this afternoon.
Yep. Yes, you're not the only one, and I think that. Yeah. Yes. We have. I have 4 people in my family that are all trying to register, and we are 2 for 4. So. Most of you, if you have been on the team previously, or any other team, your USA membership goes through December 31st. So you have until December 31st to work out all the kinks. If you're new, that's probably a little bit more of a urgent issue to have that done before the first meet, before you compete in the first meet. So, but those who have been members of USA Swimming in the past, you've got a little bit of runway before you have to have everything registered and done. So, very good question. Yes.
Do you validate that on your end? Like,
yes.
So we'll hear from you.
Yes. What ends up happening is, let's just say we sign up for a meet. We get a list a couple days later saying, here are the 10 people who are not registered, or hopefully 2 people that are not registered. And we will typically reach out to you, and you have before the first day of the meet, actually before like the Wednesday or Thursday before the meet, to get everything all squared away. So yes, if there is an issue, we will let you know. Yes.
If I took the safe sport training,
Mhm.
do I have to go back in and re-register myself then too? And then is that an annual
No.
thing, or is that like a once you're
So you were a member before, and it should link up to your previous account and give you.
log in, it's just my dog,
Yes.
not me.
Right.
So
Okay, you mean for, yes, that, we already got credit for you going through the Safe Sport thing. So we have like certain number of people who have to go through the Safe Sport training, and so then we got credit. I think what Julie was talking about earlier, we will probably have to renew that. So that's when she will be reaching out to you and saying, it's been 2 years now. Everybody, we need as many people to go through Safe Sport training again as possible. So, any other questions? Yes. Mhm.
So if my son's been doing this program for 4 years,
Yes.
so if I have a problem, like getting signed up,
Yes.
when is the deadline, September 30th, or the email?
Right.
I can just ignore it for now, and not make it top priority.
Right. Yes. If what they're saying September 30th is the deadline, but that's when they want to have everything updated and through and to probably link accounts and things like that. But you are still a member until December 31st. So, yes, I would, because I'm not sure. Right now, everybody's kind of in the same boat, so they're in a mode to really help people and try to get this all settled. I think as time goes on, there's probably going to be less and less in that mode to help. So, yes, yeah.
You had mentioned when you started that the ambition is to make NTA one of the top clubs in the state.
Mm-hmm.
You've obviously reconfigured how you're looking at practice groups
Mm-hmm.
and kind of that structure. So what does your next 12 months roadmap look like in terms of getting us to that level?
Awesome question. The question is, we made some changes in the program, and one of the goals that I set out was to be one of the top programs in the state. And what do the next 12 months look like? And really, the next 12 months, what we've done is by changing the groups around, has allowed us to do a number of different things. One of the things is to make sure that we've got basically at least 2 coaches with every group. And so that will allow us to do a little bit more individualized sort of things. Even though the groups are a little bit larger, we are able to focus in a little bit more on what each individual within the group needs and those sorts of things. And so really, as similar to what I talked about before, it really is to start challenging the kids a little bit more and to making sure that we kind of meet them where they're at, but also then try to push them to the next level. And I think that I will use it in coaches speak. I think that we were too comfortable where we were, as far as just coming to practice, putting in our hour and a half, and going home. I think we're going to focus a lot more on making sure that we're getting the most out of our hour and a half, and like I said, challenging the kids and treating it a lot more like a competitive program, a lot more than it was in the past, and maybe less like an activity. And so you're going to hear a lot from me, about, really kind of getting the kids to be competitive in practice, which leads to being competitive in meets and those sorts of things. So the next 12 months is really, let's implement all this stuff, and then, I would say I've been doing this a long time, so I think it will work, and just assessing, okay, are we making the progress that we need to make? So, yes.
How will you measure for improving your habits as well?
Yeah.
Subsequent on that,
Yeah.
any nutrition talk or anything like that that will be beneficial, at least on the website. I know you redesigned, but
Yes.
awesome.
Okay, thanks.
I like it much better.
Yeah.
Well, my opinion.
Yeah.
But like nutrition, I think we're lacking a bit. Like my kid eats everything. I'm the only one.
Right.
Bring it up. The Dryland the nutrition is probably
Right.
significant marginally
Right.
adding value.
Okay. Actually, the question was, how do we measure that we're doing better? How do we measure that we're how do we measure the success over the course of time? And then also a question about nutrition. As far as our measurement, this is what I love about swimming. There's a time, and so at the end of the day, if you were 35 in the 50 free and you're 32, we're doing okay. And if you're 35 in the 50 free and you go 38, then that gives us we need to take a look and see what we're doing and make sure we're doing things correctly. And in saying that, I will also say that not everything happens in a straight line. Okay, so if I'm 40 in the 50 free, I don't go 39 and then 38 and then 37 and work myself down. There's a lot of fits and starts as kids go through their careers. So if I'm 40, I may go 33, and then I may go 37 for a couple of meets, and then I may go down to 32. Some of that just depends. I mean, honestly, some of it just depends on an athlete. Anytime you're working with a 12-year-old girl or a 14-year-old boy, who knows what you're going to get some days. So that's part of it. Okay, but then part of it is, what are we doing training-wise? Are we at a point in the season where we really expect kids to do really well, and we want to make sure that they're doing well, according to our plans. The nutrition piece, it's actually we discussed with the board and we've discussed with the coaching staff. We are, now that we've kind of settled down a little bit, we are going to bring in some outside sources as far as speakers and people like that who can do a better job on nutrition, mental health. What was the other? Team culture, those sorts of things. And so we are going to try to bring in some outside people to serve as a better resource for us. But over time, we will also be bolstering our website that will have nutritional information and have those sorts of things. Some of that, again, when you talk about, even the mental health standpoint of sports in general and swimming, and talk about nutrition, we try to do a lot of informational sorts of things, but at the same time, we have an hour and a half a day, and then they have the other 22 hours at home or elsewhere. And so we also try to be realistic about how much we can control on all of that stuff as well. But we do try to put out the information. We'll use our website quite a bit, and we are going to try to bring in some outside people as well. Oh, yes.
So I don't really know what goes on during practice.
Sure.
For the older groups, is there going to be more emphasis on stretching? My swimmer comes home and he's in pain. And
Right.
I don't know if there's stretching going on or during Dryland.
Right. We don't do, the question is about, do we do stretching and things like that? We don't do a lot of what I would call static stretching, where it's just, kind of pulling your arm this way or pulling your arm that way. Part of our Dryland, we do have some different motions that do focus on flexibility. A lot of times we will be implementing kind of a pre-race or pre-practice sort of just activation sort of thing, which does add some flexibility. But as far as like the traditional, what I grew up doing, as far as touching your toes for 6 seconds and pulling your elbow behind your head for 6 seconds and things like that. We don't necessarily do that side of things anymore, but more along the lines of yoga and things like that help with flexibility. We will work on that.
So if that's something done, will they teach them?
Yes, yeah, we will be bringing that in as well. Yes. Was there a question over here? Yeah. Okay. We are right now, and that's we are adding some Dryland. We've added Dryland time. We're meeting with Josh, Jeremy, and myself to implement more of a program, so that what our goal is a lot of the activities that you may see in our bronze and silver, you're going to then see in our gold, and then from gold you're going to see the same sorts of things what has taken us a little bit is we want to make sure there's a progression from bronze, silver, gold, and into the senior program, so that it's a little bit less of what I think it's been in the past of, hey, as a coach, I'm going to decide what Dryland it is, and then the next coach has a completely different version of Dryland. So we've tackled that on the swimming side, and now we're working through the next couple weeks to do that on the Dryland side as well. So, any other questions? All right, looks like everyone's fulfilled their responsibility to fill my timeline up. Okay, what we kind of scheduled here is I want to have an opportunity for everybody to meet with their group coaches. Like I said, we've got a couple coaches that are not here. They had conflicts. I know a couple coaches have kids that are in swim meets for their high school and things like that. So some things that were unavoidable. But I will be kind of filling in, and different coaches will kind of fill in to help out with that. But what we do, we have about 5 groups that are going to meet now, and another 5 groups that are going to meet in about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. And in that interim time, okay, if you're not meeting with an individual group, we have time if you want to go down to Elsmore, the swim shop, if you want to buy any kind of equipment or suits or anything like that. Make sure you remind them. I don't think they need reminding, but just to make sure there's a code if you go online that gives you a 10% discount. And make sure you are able to take advantage of that if you're ordering online through them. And then obviously anything they have today is discounted as well. We also have a table set up for officials. If you're interested in becoming an official, that's one of the things that I think is very important for our club to be more engaged in the LSC. We need to have people who can officiate meets. And so it's best seat in the house is what I usually tell people. You get the closest view of everything going on. You do not have to have a ton of swimming knowledge. You don't have to have been a swimmer. You don't have to know a lot of stuff. They will teach you what is legal and what's illegal. And honestly, if you've sat in the stands long enough and watched swim meets, you already have a pretty good idea of that anyway. So we do need officials. Like I said, when we host a meet, it takes about 20 to 25 officials over the course of a weekend. I believe we have 8. And so we rely a lot on visiting teams. We rely a lot on people coming in out of the goodness of their hearts to help us out. So if we could, I would like us to move towards being self-sustaining when it comes to officiating and doing those sorts of things. So, and then we also have a table for volunteers. When we host a meet, we're asking for our parents to serve as timers, marshals, to work the computers, to do different aspects of that, of running a meet, and they'll kind of go over all the spots that we need help when we run a meet. And obviously we have a meet next weekend, so that would be an opportune time to figure out and volunteer, because these meets don't go off without having our parents help out. And then the last one is we also have a table where we'll help you if you need help using Team Unify. We do have if you use the QR code, there are videos on how to do different things on the website. But at the same time, if you need some help, maybe going through how to sign up for a meet, how to look at your account, those sorts of things, there will be someone there to help you out with that. So that's what we'll do here for the next hour. We'll have one group, and then I'll announce them. We'll switch groups over, and we'll have a different set of groups meet, and then everybody else can go down and look at the tables and all that stuff. That works.